Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in the last video we left over here and there is an issue with this file. First is with this import and second is with this sixth line. So I want you to correct these things. Just write it like this. Import counter slice from feature slash counter because the function name was counter slice. And second thing, just write dot reducer after it. After this is done, just go to your feature slash counter. Right now we have written three reducers for this file, which are simply actions, or you can say set states. The same way set state works, the same way these reducers or actions will work, but we forgot to export them. So just export them once like this. You can simply write export const increment decrement reset equals to counter slice dot actions, because this file name is counter slice. Now once this is done, let me show you this app. Now I have added a extension which is called Redux DevTools. You can find it on Chrome extensions, or you can also find it on Firefox extensions. Then you can simply click on it to see your store. Right now I have a single state which is counter and its value is 0. You can also look into it from here. We have this counter file with the value of 0. So whatever I have written here, it's coming over there. Now just jump to our app.js and start writing our UI for this thing. I'll simply add a h1 tag and provide it a title which is Redux Toolkit. If I show you, this title is coming up. Now let's head back and write a div called container, and inside this div right now I'll give a static state which is 0 just to look into it, and you can see this 0 is coming here, which is static right now, but I'll make it dynamic by accessing this 0, because we have this 0 on our initial state of store as well, right? So for that we have a hook called useSelector. Now how to use useSelector? We simply have to write it like const value equals to useSelector, import useSelector, then I'll just give it a function and this function will return our counter dot value. Okay, you can write anything over here. I have written store because I feel like it's a store, so I have written it. You can write anything here. Whatever you write here, you write here as well. Then you can simply write dot counter dot value. Why counter dot value? Because if you can see here, we have this complete store and there is dot counter dot value which is 0. Okay, so if I go back, then this value will contain 0, so we can simply write it inside our h1 tags like this. So now my h1 tags will contain whatever this value will contain, and it's containing our store's value, counter dot value, right? So if I head back, you can see this 0 is coming up. Okay, now let's make our buttons. To make our buttons, I'll make a div with a class name of buttons, and within this class I'll add 3 buttons. Button 1, which is my decrement button, so I'll give it a minus sign. Then I'll make 2 more buttons same as this decrement button. I'll just change their class name to reset, and third one to inc and give it a plus sign. Now I have 3 buttons, and let me just change it to reset. So I have 3 buttons. If we go back, we can see our minus button, our plus button, and our reset button. Now let's jump forward and provide them on click property. So let's start with this decrement operator, and I'll give it an on click and give it a callback function. Now I'll let you know how to access those action, or I already told you that these are our set states, right? So we can use them to set our state. So the first set state was increment, which is used to increment our state, right? So how to increment it or how to decrement it or how to use those actions, we simply need to write const dispatch equals to useDispatch. Now useDispatch is another hook which comes from this React Redux, and with this dispatch word we can use this hook. We simply need to write dispatch on the on click and pass it parenthesis and that action, like decrement action. But this will not work this way. I need to add parenthesis after this decrement as well and import this decrement as well. So I have imported it from Redux features / counter. Now I'll head forward and I'll add this same on click property to reset as well. Just change this name to reset like this and import this reset. And the same way I'll go to my increment and change its dispatch to increment, and there's then a parenthesis, and I'll import my increment function or increment reducer or increment action from the file. Now all these things have been added. Now let's go to our UI. If I click on plus, it is incrementing this state. You can also see this state incremented here as well. And if I click on reset, then we have already defined that if I click on reset, then it should go to 0. So once I click on this, it will go back to 0. So this is it about Redux Toolkit, and I hope you have liked this tutorial. You have got to know about useSelector, useDispatch, and how to use useSelector, and where to use useDispatch, how to make actions, functions, and how to write your initial boilerplate of Redux Toolkit. We will make some more apps with Redux Toolkit so that you can get more understanding about Redux Toolkit, and let me know if you find difficulty in any part. I'll try to cover that up.